Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Leah and most of my videos are focused on unsolved crimes and mysteries. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back and thank you so much for supporting my channel. So the case we're going to be talking about today is actually very new. It just happened. And it has left a lot of people completely heartbroken, traumatized and devastated. It came as a huge shock to the friends, the family, and the whole community. We are going to be talking about a beautiful little girl named Piper Elliott. She was only 7 years old when she was murdered by her own mother. It's very tragic. The Elliott family was living in Hendersonville, Tennessee. The mother, Brandi, was 33 years old and was working at McDonald's. Her husband, John, was an ex-Marine. He was wounded in combat and was now a disabled military vet. About 2 weeks before this happened, John was hospitalized in the critical care unit. I don't know exactly what his health issues were, but it sounded like it was pretty serious. On July 13th, a lot of Piper's friends, they went swimming and she knew that they were all just waiting for her. But Brandi and Piper, they already had plans to go visit John in the hospital. And don't get me wrong, Piper was so excited to go see her dad. She brought a lot of coloring book pictures that she had colored for her dad so he could hang them on the wall in his hospital room because she was trying to make him feel better. So Piper and Brandi, they went to see John and everything there went fantastic. They had a really great time as a family and there was no problems at all. When visiting hours were over, Brandi and Piper, they decided to go back home. And on the way home, Piper started asking her mom if she could go swimming with her friends. And Brandi told her to leave her alone because she had a very rough day and she just needed alone time. But Piper, she really wanted to go swimming. She loved swimming and she always had a lot of fun with her friends and their parents actually. But Brandi kept pushing Piper away and said, "Leave me alone. I need alone time. I've had a really rough day." When Brandi and Piper arrived back home from the hospital, Piper was still going at Brandi to let her go swimming. She really wanted to join her friends. She loved swimming and her friends, they always had a great time. But Brandi, she kept pushing Piper away and said, "Leave me alone and be quiet. I had a really rough day and I just need some alone time." But Piper wouldn't accept it and it actually escalated into a huge argument where they would be shouting at each other back and forth. Brandi would keep telling Piper to be quiet and leave her alone. And Piper kept telling her mom, "Can I go swimming? Why can't I go swimming? I really want to spend time with my friends." Eventually, Brandi had enough and she was really frustrated and very angry. So she decided to leave the apartment. She opened the front door, closed it behind her and just sat outside by herself on the stairs. But Piper, she didn't want to be alone in the apartment and she was getting really frustrated as well. So she decided to call her dad. It's unknown what was said in that conversation, but something in that conversation made John call the police. Piper then went outside to sit with her mom and she was still talking about going swimming. By this point, Brandi had enough. She told Piper that she was going to take her swimming by the lake. So she got up, grabbed Piper and dragged her to the greenway across the street. They then started walking to Drake's Creek, which was a 10-12 minute walk away from their house. It was 9 o'clock at night, so it was getting pretty late. While they were walking towards Drake's Creek, they actually met a couple, the couple's teenage daughter and her boyfriend. They said that Brandi was acting very strange and it almost seemed like she was trying to hide Piper. She was like turning her so they wouldn't see her face. It was really strange. But the couple and the two teenagers, They walked past them and kept walking. Brandi and Piper, they were getting closer to Drake's Creek, and when they arrived, Brandi brought Piper down to the water and saw her get in. And that's when Brandi decided to grab Piper and put her head under water. She held her head down and kept shouting at her to be quiet, leave her alone. She had a rough day, and if you don't want to give me alone time, I will take it myself. And she kept holding Piper underwater until she felt bubbles coming out. She then dragged Piper out of the water, and that's when she realized what she had done. She put Piper on the ground, and Brandi claims that she was doing CPR on Piper to bring her back. In the meantime, the couple and the two teenagers, they were returning because one of them forgot their mobile phone in their car. So not long after Brandi put Piper on the ground, the couple and the two teenagers, they came walking back and they saw Piper lying there lifeless on the ground. They all went into complete panic mode. The father, he ran to Piper and started performing CPR. He was blowing air into her lungs, and he said the amount of water that came out of her was unreal. But Piper, she was gone. But he didn't care. He just kept going with CPR until he was all sweaty and his arms were aching. His wife was calling 911 and they arrived at the scene and they took Piper to the hospital where the doctors, they did everything in their power to save Piper. But unfortunately it was too late and Piper, she was pronounced dead. The following morning, Brandi was arrested and she was charged with first-degree murder. And she could actually be facing the death penalty in Tennessee. There was a hearing where Brandi, she would appear in court and explain what happened. Brandi explained to the judge that when Piper was 2 years old, she also lost it. She was trying to unalive herself, and she was then diagnosed with postpartum depression. The doctors, they prescribed medication for her, but that was it. I didn't read anything about therapy or anything like that. She was only prescribed medication, which I find a little bit strange.
My question to you, have you ever been under the care of a mental health professional?
When my daughter was 2, I kind of lost it, like I did. This time, and I had postpartum depression, and they gave me medicine for it, and I was having a really bad time with sleeping, and I was working at the gas.
So you were under the care of a mental health professional at one point?
After they just gave me medicine, and I went to Centennial for postpartum depression.
Mr. James, oral state, do you wish to have Mr. Elliott evaluated for mental competency at this time, or a mental evaluation for incident?
I do not, Your Honor.
From the state?
But that was 5 years ago. And Piper, she was 7 years old now, and Brandi said that she was no longer on medication. So I'm feeling like if Piper was 7 years old and Brandi still had postpartum depression, wouldn't she still be medicated by her doctor? But I read online that it's also very unlikely that if you get postpartum depression when you have a child, it's very unlikely that you still have it 5 years later. So they're talking about it could be postpartum psychosis. Maybe the whole motherhood for her was completely overwhelming. And she also had her husband that was now a disabled vet. He would get social security checks every month while Brandi was working at McDonald's. So it did seem like Brandi was the sole caretaker of the whole family, and maybe it became overwhelming for her. But why didn't she reach out for help? I don't understand that. During the hearing, the judge asked Brandi's lawyer if he wanted a mental evaluation done on Brandi, and he declined. And first I was in shock. I was like, if she is having a psychotic moment, if she has a psychosis, if she has postpartum depression, wouldn't it be a good idea for a mental evaluation to prove that your client is mentally unstable? But then again, maybe they're trying to call in their own expert. We don't know. Brandi's next hearing in court is on August 14th, so maybe a lot more details is gonna come out at that time. But as you remember, John was hospitalized in the critical care unit. He was already struggling with his health. He has now been transferred to a regular hospital room, and they are expecting to release him from the hospital in a few weeks. But when John got the news about his daughter, his whole world fell apart and he is completely devastated. He is broken. His very best friend, he set up a GoFundMe for John to help cover for Piper's funeral and John's everyday basic needs. It does seem like that Brandi was the sole caretaker of the family and she was no longer there. So John, he needs all the help that he can get. I am heartbroken for this father and for Piper's family and friends. This is so horrible. It's horrible. And when I look at Brandi's Facebook and I look at all the pictures and videos with her and Piper, they look so happy. And they look like they really love each other. So what happened here? What happened? Did Brandi have a mental breakdown? Or did she just lose it? Or do you think that this was premeditated? We don't know. After Brandi was arrested, the witnesses came forward and they actually made 2 statements. But before I read those statements to you, there's something else that you should know. There's a lot of speculation out there, and most people believe that Brandi, she planned this. Because who takes their child out swimming in a dark lake 9 o'clock at night? It's very strange. There's nobody around at that time. So Brandi would take Piper to Drake's Creek. She would unalive her daughter, go back home and pretend like nothing happened. And when the police came knocking on her door, she could tell them that her daughter left the house, maybe even tell them she ran away because she wanted to go swimming. But she didn't know who she was with and she didn't know where she went. So it would all look like an accident. But Brandi didn't expect to meet that couple and the 2 teenagers on the Greenway. So there was witnesses. The witnesses actually believe that Brandi was going to leave Piper there because she knew that they were going to find her. It's very disturbing. It's very, very disturbing. But I want to read the statements to you. And the first one is from the husband. It says, #Justice for Piper. How the F could you unalive your beautiful little daughter? She knew what you were and had been planning to do to her. You told her to be quiet so no one would hear. As we walked by y'all, the last person to see her alive, you avoided us by keeping her mouth shut as you planned the most evil effed up thing you could do to your child. You held her under that nasty ass water alone until she was gone. Then you left her alone on that dark walking path for us to find her. You said you tried to revive her. You're a damn liar. I worked on that poor innocent child for 20 minutes till I was soaked in sweat and my arms were hurting. Every time I breathed air into her lungs, the amount of water coming out of her was unreal. You just stood there as Heather was trying her hardest to call 911 and get them to the spot, and you did nothing. You made the kids with us witness your horrible act on your own daughter. You left us all effing broken from having to see that. Something that will never go away. Brandi Elliott, I know prison, and I know prison justice will catch you when you least expect it. Piper, I am so sorry we wasn't there sooner for you, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. The mother that you loved took your life. We love you, sweet girl, and we will never forget you. We stayed at your side, sweetheart, to the end. Fly high, sweet angel. This is so devastating and it's heartbreaking, and you can just by reading this, you can feel how much they're hurting. They are broken and they are traumatized, and I really hope that they're going to get all the help that they need. The next statement that I'm going to read is from the wife. It says, "To know what I know now, #justice for Piper. If only we could have gotten to you maybe just 5 minutes sooner. I knew something wasn't right the first time we passed you all on the walkway. Brandi literally tried to hide you from us, like you all were not standing right in front of us. Little did we know what we would be walking back into. Brandi Elliott, you left your daughter for dead. I will never forget how you approached us. And I don't care what you say, you didn't try to help your child in any way. You told Piper to be quiet while you held her underwater. You knew we would see her lifeless body that you just left there all alone. You're an evil ass bee. You had no emotion whatsoever, not one single tear for the daughter that you had just unalived. You just acted like you didn't give an F the whole time we were trying to help her. Brandi, you even made some side-ass comments to my 14-year-old, but I didn't know that until after the fact. When they were carrying Piper away, something came over me to want to beat your ass. Luckily, Matt grabbed me when he did because I was having very bad thoughts running through my head. Piper, Matthew and I tried everything possible to bring you back. Matthew worked on your sweet little body for 20 minutes while I was on call with 911. I will never forget what you looked like, just lying there all black and blue and a stomach full of water, so lifeless. My baby girl, who is 14 and her boyfriend 16, had to see you like that as well. We all went into panic mode as soon as we seen you lying there. Even though we knew it was too late, we still tried our damnedest. I will never be able to get that night out of my head. It just replays over and over. Rest in peace, sweet angel." It's very heartbreaking, and in my opinion, this couple and the two teenagers, they are true heroes. They were walking back, they saw Piper lying there, and without a second thought, they just jumped into action. They were working very hard to bring Piper back and save her life. But unfortunately, it was too late. But you can just tell that these people are hurting. They are traumatized. I don't know how you get past this and how you get over something like this. Like she said, it just keeps replaying over and over. But like I said, I hope these beautiful people, they're gonna get all the help that they need. Brandi's next hearing in court is on August 14th, and maybe a lot more details is going to come out at that point. I really want to know how she could do this to her own daughter. And Piper's father, I can't even imagine how heartbroken he is. His life is never going to be the same again. Actually, so many lives have been destroyed. I have read so many comments from people who knew Piper. They all loved her. She went swimming with her friends, but she was also friends with their parents. And the parents, they loved her. She would hug everybody. She would always be smiling and laughing, just sharing a lot of love for everybody. She was a beautiful, beautiful little girl, inside and out. She didn't deserve this. No child deserves this. They are innocent children. If you are struggling as a mother, or you feel motherhood all your life is too overwhelming and you have kids in the house, please reach out for help. There are so many people out there that can help you. You are not alone in this. So if you're struggling, please reach out to someone and ask for help. So I'm gonna keep following this case, and Brandi's next court hearing is on August 14th, and hopefully we are gonna get some more answers. I'm gonna post a link to John's GoFundMe down below. So if you want to help John with a donation to help pay for Piper's funeral and his everyday basic needs, please click on the link down below, because he's gonna need all the help that he can possibly get. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you for watching, and until the next one, take care and stay safe. Bye.